Very good evening and welcome. You're watching Beyond the Headline with me, Tamanna Inamdar. This evening we're going to be focusing on the monsoon fury that has upended lives and killed over dozens of people across various states of northern India. The NCR capital region is in complete shock. While we now have more and more details of how this is unprecedented amount of rain, possibly could be linked to climate change, the question we're asking today is, can those who govern us get away with saying it's not our fault, it's Mother Nature? Why do our roads, our walls, our hotels, our streets, our bridges collapse when there is this kind of rain? Are we really ignoring the fact that this is going to be a reality of our lives? We're seeing it year after year. We're going to be going into all of the details of that story, but first, let me begin with the top headlines at this hour. Monsoon fury continues to rage across northern India. Metro cities inundated in knee-deep water as rains expose fragile urban infrastructure. 72 deaths recorded in Himachal alone. Rain fury hits national capital and adjoining areas. Water levels in Yamuna River near danger mark. All MCD-run schools to remain shut tomorrow in view of heavy rainfall prediction. Centre submits affidavit in Supreme Court on Article 370 abrogation. Affirms zero stone pelting in 2023. Says Jammu and Kashmir is on the path of development after Article 370 abrogation. After West Bengal Panchayat poll violence, Governor Ananda Bose meets Home Minister Amit Shah in Delhi, submits report on violence, which claimed at least 35 lives, repolling in over 700 polling booths held. Setback for India's semiconductor plan. Foxconn quits a 1.5 lakh crore joint venture with Vedanta to make electronic chips. Instagram's Threads surpasses 100 million users in less than a week after its release. Reports say Twitter's traffic that has been steadily decreasing since January this year reached a new low this month. Blaming Mother Nature. They are blaming climate change. Yes, rains have been the heaviest in 40 years in Delhi. Yes, Himachal has received unprecedented excess rainfall. Yes, perhaps such heavy rains were not something that we were prepared for. But does that explain why roads are caving in like they're made of paper? Why a hospital wall just collapses? Why a government-constructed school in Delhi that was built recently has a wall crumbling? Bridges, even hotels, roads have all given way. Lives have been lost, property destroyed. And our netas shrug and say, it's an unusual amount of rainfall. That's what the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said today, that Delhi was not designed for this kind of rainfall. The BJP has now attacked his government and asked for the resignation of the PWD Minister Atishi. Listen in.
8 और 9 जुलाई के जो 24 घंटे थे, उन 24 घंटों में 153 mm बारिश हुई है, 153 mm बारिश हुई है। 40 साल में, ये दिल्ली का अब मैं डेटा दे रहा हूँ, बाकी स्टेट्स का नहीं दे रहा। 40 साल में इतनी बारिश पहली बार 40 साल के बाद हुई है। 1982 में 169.9 170 mm बारिश हुई थी, इस बार 153 mm बारिश हुई है। सो अनप्रेसिडेंटेड बारिश है। इतनी बारिश को बर्दाश्त करने के लिए दिल्ली का सिस्टम डिजाइंड नहीं है।
दिल्ली सरकार पूरी तरह विफल होती है। हर बार बारिश से पहले इनको मार्च के महीने में दिल्ली पुलिस सूचना देती है किन किन जगहों पे भराव होता है, कहाँ कहाँ दिक्कत है, और मेरी जानकारी के हिसाब से लगभग 150 से अधिक जगहें हैं जहाँ के लिए उनको जानकारी दी गई कि यहाँ पर भराव होता है और यहाँ पर आप पहले ही चिंता करें। परंतु दिल्ली सरकार तो राजनीति करने में बिजी है। दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री तो कभी मध्य प्रदेश में, कभी छत्तीसगढ़ में पाए जाते हैं, राजस्थान में पाए जाते हैं। उनको दिल्ली से लेना देना नहीं। और दिल्ली के अंदर सड़कों की जो हालत है, अब सड़कों की जगह सड़कों में बड़े बड़े खड्डे और टोए बन गए हैं।
As the netas bicker, there is no real explanation for the lack of preparedness or the poor quality of what passes for infrastructure in our country. And yes, this isn't the story of just Delhi, of just Gurugram. Look at the state of the millennial city, completely flooded. You know, people are very, very relieved and are loading Noida because it's relatively better. But in the last 48 hours, roads have caved in at Rohini and Burari in Delhi, in Shimla and in Saharanpur. It's not just the roads. In balconies, compound walls, roofs, they've all been collapsing. Look at that. That's the state of the roads in this country. At least 4 people have been killed in Delhi alone. In Himachal, the death toll has risen to 72. And yes, we've seen those horrific pictures of an entire hotel getting completely taken away by the deluge. The rains have been excessive. Excess rainfall has been clocked at over 500% in Delhi and Haryana. Punjab, UP, Gujarat and Rajasthan have all seen excess rainfall. And Himachal, of course, was the worst hit with over 1,000% of excess rainfall. But the question is, should we be giving those who govern us a free pass of climate change? Why don't we have the ability to forecast heavy rainfall of this nature? And if we don't today, are we working on it? Where is the contingency plan for extreme weather that frankly we see each and every year in some part of the country or the other? And who is going to explain why our infrastructure just disappears when there is heavy rain? Let's first take a look at some reports that have been filed by my colleagues from all over the country.
हत्तीकुंड बैराज से लगातार पानी छोड़े जाने के बाद यमुना का जलस्तर बढ़ने लगा है। इस वक्त 204.88 मीटर जो स्तर है वो पहुंच चुका है और खतरे के निशान को ये पार कर सकता है, इसकी आशंका जताई जा रही है कि आज शाम तक या कल सुबह तक ये खतरे के निशान को पार कर सकता है। आप देख सकते हैं कि इस वक्त यमुना नदी उफान पर है और कहा जा रहा है कि बाढ़ जैसी स्थिति बन रही है, इसलिए निचले स्तर पर जो रहने वाले लोग हैं उनको खाली कराया जा रहा है और अलर्ट जारी किया गया है कि बाढ़ जैसी स्थिति बन सकती है। लिहाजा इस वक्त लोहे के पुल की आप नीचे की तस्वीर देख रहे हैं कि यमुना जो नदी है वो किस तरह से जो बहाव है वो कितना ज्यादा तेज है और जब ये खतरे के निशान को पार करेगी तो यहाँ पे जो ट्रैफिक मूवमेंट है उसको रोक दिया जाएगा, ट्रेन की आवाजाही जो है उसको रोक दी जाएगी। फिलहाल आप ये देखिए कि किस तरह से जो डेंजर मार्क है, आपको बता दें कि वो 205.88 मीटर है और लगातार हत्तीकुंड बैराज से पानी छोड़ा जा रहा है। अब तक 3 लाख क्यूसेक पानी छोड़ा जा चुका है। वहीं राजधानी दिल्ली में भी लगातार बारिश हो रही है, इसकी वजह से भी जो खतरा है वो मंडरा रहा है। वहीं दूसरी तरफ की तस्वीरें हम आपको दिखा देते हैं कि लोग अब यहाँ पर जो यमुना के निचले स्तर पे जो रहने वाले लोग हैं वो यहाँ से इस जगह को खाली कर रहे हैं क्योंकि यहाँ पे उनके लिए भी खतरा मंडरा रहा है, इसलिए अलर्ट जारी किया गया था प्रशासन की तरफ से कि इस जगह को खाली करा दिया जाए। फिलहाल लोहे के पुल के नीचे की तस्वीर हम दिखा रहे हैं कि इस वक्त यमुना के नीचे का जो बहाव है वो कितना ज्यादा तेज है और डेंजर मार्क जो है वो 205.88 मीटर है। आज शाम या कल सुबह तक ये आशंका जताई गई है कि यमुना में जिस तरह से पानी छोड़ा जा रहा है अब ये खतरनाक जलस्तर में पहुंच सकता है, जिसके बाद इस जगह को पहले से ही अलर्ट जारी किया गया और आप देख सकते हैं यमुना का जो बहाव है वो कितना ज्यादा तेज इस वक्त नजर आ रहा है। राजधानी दिल्ली में शनिवार और रविवार इतनी बारिश हुई कि उसने कई रिकॉर्ड्स तोड़ दिए, लेकिन ऐसी तस्वीरें भी सामने आ रही हैं जो आपको परेशान कर सकती हैं। रोहिणी सेक्टर 23-24 के बीच जो मुख्य चौराहा है वहां पर करीब 15 मीटर चौड़ा एक गड्ढा हो गया बीच सड़क पर। वो तस्वीरें हम आपको दिखाते हैं, लेकिन फिलहाल आप देखिए सुबह पीडब्ल्यूडी विभाग के अधिकारी यहाँ पहुंचते हैं और यहाँ पे मिट्टी डाल के इस रास्ते को किस तरह से भरा जाता है। लेकिन आपको हम तस्वीर दिखाते हैं, आसपास ये मुख्य चौराहा है और यहाँ पर इस तरह की घटना होने दुर्घटना को दावत देती है और ये पहली मर्तबा नहीं है कि सड़क के बीच दरार हो जाती है, गड्ढा हो जाता है। इसके पहले भी कई ऐसे इलाके हैं जहां पर इस तरह तरह की तस्वीरें सामने आई। अब आपको हम यहाँ दिखाते हैं कि किस तरह से यहाँ तो मिट्टी डाल दी गई है बीच सड़क पर और जल्द हो सकता है इस पर निर्माण कार्य भी शुरू हो, दोबारा इस पर रोड बनाई जाए। लेकिन आप देखिए कई जगहों पर यहाँ पे दरारें आ गई हैं जिससे जेसीबी मशीन द्वारा मिट्टी भरी जा रही है और रोड के किनारे जो दरारें आई उसमें देखिए सीवर किस तरह से वहां पर धंस गया है। अब यहाँ पर मिट्टी डाल के इस रास्ते को बराबर किया जाएगा। लेकिन देखिए जिस तरह से पिछले 2 दिनों से बारिश हो रही है, जलभराव की तस्वीरें कई जगह सामने आई हैं, वो कितनी लोगों को दिक्कत होती है। आप यहीं रहते हैं? अब ये गड्ढा हो गया तो कितनी परेशानी हुई?
मैडम मैं थोड़ा सा दूरी पे रहता हूँ, मैं जिसमें कि बेगमपुर जगह पे रहता हूँ। हाँ। बेगमपुर वाला रोड है। हाँ। पूरा इतनी गाड़ियाँ धंसती हैं उधर और हद से ज्यादा रोड खराब हो रखा है।
1 साल पहले ही ये रोड बना था?
ये बना तो था जल्दी में ही, लेकिन अभी ये हाल हो रखे हैं, जगह जगह पे रोड धंस रहे हैं।
And to understand why we are finding ourselves so helpless, I am joined now by Nighat Abbass, spokesperson of the BJP, Umesh Sehgal, ex-Chief Secretary of Delhi, Shrikant Gupta, Professor at Delhi School of Economics, is with me on the show, and I'll be speaking in a short while to Ravi Srivastav, political analyst as well. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today. Mr. Sehgal, let me begin by just, understanding a very basic, simple question. Why is our infrastructure not able to stand up to what we're seeing? Can we truly just say that the rainfall's too heavy? Is it ordinary for the kind of road collapse we saw, for example, in Rohini? And we're seeing it in different parts of the country, to be honest. What is the reason for that?
Well, this time there was heavy rain, so that is being made as an excuse. But on other occasions also, such a mess is seen in Delhi. And there are multiple reasons for that. See, basically, Delhi was selected as the capital of India because it was on the banks of the Jamuna. And most of the cities which developed in Delhi were either on the ridge, on high ground, or they were on the banks of the Jamuna. And population was in a few thousands or maybe 40,000-50,000. Suddenly the population has now gone up to 2.5 crores. So all portions of Delhi are now filled up. And most of Delhi is on the level of the Jamuna. It is not on a higher ground. I think the ridge and the New Delhi, certain portions of New Delhi are above the Jamuna level. So what happens when the rain comes, heavy rain comes, Jamuna itself is in flood. Now, Jamuna, we have embankments. So, the embankments prevent the water from coming into the city. But the water is there. And these drains are at the level of the Jamuna water. So, the drains don't really act as drains. They are very slow. Apart from the fact that drains are not cleaned and etc., and the garbage is thrown into them, this is the major cause. And I have never really understood, I have been advocating this for many years, even when I was in service, that rainwater harvesting is a key thing in Delhi. We have allowed roof water from all the houses to go into the ground. In fact, we have made it compulsory. There is a law that you have to do it. Now, why don't we allow the road water surplus from the roads, at least part of it, maybe 30%, 20% of it, to go into the groundwater? If we do that, part of the overflow, and definitely where there are under bridges, we should have, we cannot pump the water out. You have, how many pumps will you keep there? You plan for, let us say, 362 days it works. Then on 3 days it fails. And those are the days when there is very heavy rain. So we should have some sort of harvesting there. And of course, there is a problem. I concede that you are not sure of what the car tires have. But by and large, there is no chemical contamination.
Mr. Sehgal, can I ask you a direct question? Can I ask you a very direct question that people are asking? Can I ask you a direct and simple question? Yeah. What people think is happening and what the belief is. And please disabuse me of this notion if I'm completely wrong. The understanding and the belief of a lot of people today is that infrastructure collapses when the going gets tough, because when it's being built, there is more corruption than actual work. That the materials used are substandard. That the processes are not followed well. That is why roads collapse. Is that the case?
when you talk of standards, you talk of normal standards. You have used materials which, if materials are used, I won't deny that there is no corruption there. There is a bit of corruption also, but it's all not corruption. It is not that every road is a corrupt practice. The point is that certain roads collapse because the proper ground study has not been done. So there are already you put a water pipeline under or the sewage line under the road, and suddenly the road is not designed for this, so it collapses. And this has happened in many places in Delhi. Now, the point is that the PWD should be alert to this. When a water line is being laid under the road, they should strengthen the road. And they must insist that the Jal Board or whoever is laying that line follows certain specifications. There is failure. I am not saying it is the failure of the citizens. No, it is the failure of the government. But part of the failure is what you are attributing or the common man attributes. Part of this failure is in our whole thinking of how the water is to be discharged into the river. And it's worse in Gurgaon than in Delhi because the river is far away from Gurgaon. All the water from Gurgaon comes into the Nazafgarh Nala. Nazafgarh Nala is already, if you see that it is overflowing. So the point is, how will the water flow into the rivers? So it doesn't go. Slowly it percolates into the ground.
Okay.
We organize the system in such a way that it goes into the ground and we clean the water. We need technology. Earlier we used to carry out the geographical locations. Now we need technology. I think technology has to be developed, has to be evolved. And even if it takes n number of years, at least after n number of years, the problem will be solved.
But we see this, we have this conversation n number of times, unfortunately. Let me get Shrikant Gupta into the conversation. We have this conversation n number of times. And frankly, sometimes it's Mumbai. This time it's Delhi, NCR we're talking about. Gurugram we're talking about. Look at what's happened in Chandigarh. It's infrastructural collapse, and we'll come specifically to Delhi. That's why I have Nighat Abbass and Mr. Ravi Srivastava here as well. But again, I want to understand if we should accept the statement that this is unprecedented rain. The Delhi Chief Minister today says Delhi wasn't built for this. Yes, it is unprecedented rain. But isn't the city suffering even when the quantum of rain is much less?
Is that addressed to me, Tamanna?
Yes, Mr. Gupta.
Hello. Hi. Oh, thanks. Well, firstly, there's a sense of deja vu. So, as you rightly said, it happens year after year, whether it's today it's Delhi, tomorrow it's Bangalore. I think there are 2-3 issues that we must keep in mind. Firstly, I think, well, you're a journalist, there is a news cycle, but don't sensationalize it. When you sensationalize something, then you don't take the long view. Secondly, I would also ask the politicians not to politicize it. So, when there's politicians are asking for resignations of ministers, I mean, this blame game, I was just listening to this and it occurred to me that politicians bickering about these events is like two people arguing about the order of the deck chairs on the Titanic while it's racing towards an iceberg. Tamanna, the point is that this is climate change and it is here to stay. So we will have these extreme weather events, very short, intense bursts of rainfall, and we definitely need a climate action plan for this. So don't just think of this as a civic issue of a road collapsing here or a building collapsing there. I think what really we should do is think very systematically about how our climate is changing. Today, your news cycle is talking about the floods and the roads. Tomorrow, your news cycle will talk about the heat. Everything is interconnected. So I think, let's sort of, get away from this sensational angle. I'm sure that's important because that's why people are now listening to this. Let's get away from the political angle. Let's think about this, and I'm glad that Ravi Srivastava is here. He's an urban thinker, urban planner. We definitely need a climate action plan. I think you are in Mumbai. Mumbai has a climate action plan. The previous government came up with a Mumbai climate action plan, and of course it can be further improved. But I think that's a template. The second thing I really want to say is that, yes, I think we all are culpable. What about us as citizens? What about the plastic that we throw on the streets which goes and clogs the drain? Aren't we culpable for that? What about building code violations? Separate out the sensational elements and think about houses collapsing. Houses collapsing, either not built properly, that's essentially a municipal function. The municipal corporation handles building permits, whereas the roads collapsing is the PWD. Delhi is a mess because Delhi's urban governance is a mess. You have fractured governance. You have the PWD with the Delhi government.
You know, Professor Gupta, I understand your sentiment. I understand your sentiment. Just to follow up there, I understand your sentiment, and I agree when you say that, you know, we tend to do the story of the day. That's the premise of my show. I go beyond the headline of what is the story of the day. But having said that, once you disperse accountability, that the person throwing a packet of chips from their car is as responsible as the elected chief minister of Delhi, then I think we're letting them off too easy. It might seem sensational. It might seem, you know, why are we sitting and asking, why are we politicizing? Well, that's the part of the democratic process. The opposition has to ask, what are you doing? Then who are we supposed to say this to?
No, the politicizing is... No, sorry, Tamanna. Politicizing means that scoring points. Well, ask so-and-so to resign, or the BJP did it, or the AAP did it. I think, you know, we are all in this together. And the other point I want to make is, as you were mentioning, Noida has done far better this time. So what is it that Noida does right, which Gurgaon doesn't do right? Again, it's not about politics. It's about maybe urban design, maybe about how you build your roads and those sorts of things. Obviously, we must hold our politicians accountable, but we are the ones who elect them. So I think that what we really need to do is take the long view, Tamanna, because these things will keep happening. We will have, in fact, greater frequency. Today, the Indian Express ran a very good story where they said this, the correspondent, the editor said this, that this is going to be with us. Look at what's happening in Uttarakhand, what happened in Kerala last year. Extreme weather events, floods, droughts, cyclones are going to happen worldwide. Are we adapting? Do we have an action plan? Do we have this holistic vision? I think there certainly needs to be thinking at the highest level. We're doing a lot on mitigation. We are building solar and so on. But we definitely don't have a national climate adaptation plan. I've written about it.
We don't even seem to be knowing what to do. Absolutely, Professor Gupta. We don't even seem to be knowing what to do when this happens. It's ad hoc. So you have locals coming in, and then of course the blame game. Nighat Abbass, you know, I started with
but the point is that how do we go forward?
We started, Nighat Abbass, with the expert view.
No, I just want to say one thing that, you know, I mean, just...
Yes, okay. Finish your point. Finish your point, Professor Gupta.
I just want to say, Tamanna, that basically, you know, don't just think of this as a civic issue. Don't just think of a AAP versus BJP issue. Think of this as a climate issue where you are going to have extreme weather events, and we do need a plan. We need a plan for Delhi. Nobody denies it. If the government doesn't come up with a plan, we can do a citizens' action plan, and we can tell the government, well, this is the way things should be done. And again, not trying to defend this government or that, but think of the restoration of the water bodies plan that the AAP is trying to do. I think that's a very good idea.
Okay.
But certainly a lot more needs to be done. I think the AAP's PW department should be held accountable. So I really think that this is the story of the day, but this is also the story of our lifetime. You see the headlines today, it's happening in Japan, it's happening in the United States. It's happening in many parts of the world.
But are walls crumbling there? Are there massive craters in roads there? Is our infrastructure is bad there? Nighat Abbass, if you listen to the experts, they're saying this is climate change. No one can help it. Why are you blaming the Aam Aadmi Party then?
No, it is not about blaming Tamanna. What my point is that it doesn't really suit to the personality of a chief minister who, since 8 years, to be precise 8.5 years, has been literally promising that the state of Delhi would really become like Europe, that the state of Delhi would really become like Paris or London. A chief minister who has been giving such fake promises now needs to set an accountability and come up front and tell us without any unjustified reason saying that we were not ready, despite of the fact that the weather forecast had warned you days before you were missing out on opportunities to save Delhi. He's talking about that, yes, there's no floods in Delhi and the weather forecast doesn't warn us that would be the Delhi would be flooded by Yamuna's water. Right now, what we are seeing in Connaught Place, at Lodi Road, at Akbar Road is nothing less than that the Delhi has literally drowned its posh areas. That to be in the government of Arvind Kejriwal, who has been promising roads like Europe. The high time you need to have a plan and you need to come up and tell that where is that underground piping layout? Why is it missing from the books of Delhi PW department? What shocks me the most is that the PW minister Atishi her home has been drowned, and forget her, she has the privilege of going and living in another house. What about the people who are living in slums? They're drowning. Their money has gotten lost in that dirty water. Where do they go? They have no choice but to go and live at the footpaths. The villages of Delhi, look at them. Forget villages now. Look at the houses of the IAS officers in the posh and government colonies, which are governed by Delhi government. Why is he sleeping? It is clearly and it is very much evident that even
infrastructure collapse.
There is a big corruption by
and the combination,
the commission man and not the chief minister
the
of Delhi.
combination of urban decay, infrastructural collapse, and heavier than expected rains have spared no one. From, like you mentioned, slum dwellers to, you know, the big bungalows. Now, Ravi Srivastav, the question is, can you know, the government just say in Delhi that this is unprecedented, Delhi is not built for that much rain, and say that's enough? Because clearly in city after city, we are seeing a colossal problem of infrastructure that is just not good enough.
Tamanna, it is one of the easiest thing to criticize a particular chief minister or a particular government and make some remarks like this, that IAS officers, our houses are flooded, or the Lutyens Delhi is flooded, etc., etc. What I want to tell you is that where it is not happening, it's a climate change phenomena. You have seen your own Mirror Now report shows what has happened in the New York City. In the best, the world's, best country, the most prosperous country, having the best infrastructure, what has happened there? So it is not that government is not working, or government is not doing anything. This was unprecedented. This was unexpected. So much of water, came out in 153.5 millimeter within 24 hours. Very unusual. That never happened. Delhi is not prepared for this. But the chief minister has not run away. Chief minister is on the ground. The PWD minister is on the ground. They are moving in the boats. See, the only thing is which can be thought objectively
is it Mr. Ravi Srivastav?
Madam, please.
All right, then I have two questions.
One minute. Nighat Abbas, I'll come to you. Let him finish, I'll come to you. 1 minute. Nighat Abbas, you will get your chance. Don't worry. I'll come to you. Like Mr. Srivastav heard you, you will hear him. Let's have a dignified debate, because these are important issues. And at the end of the day, Mr. Srivastav, do keep in mind that people will turn towards those who are in charge, no matter which party they're from.
This kind of situation, whenever it happens, the only objective of the government is to save the lives and the livelihood. As much as possible, minimize it as much as possible.
Okay.
I think that is what the government is doing at the moment. Where it is not happening. My only request here is, at the government at center should go for a better plan for this kind of flash floods. This has not happened here only. This has happened in Uttarakhand. This has happened in Bengaluru. This has happened in Gujarat. This has happened in several places. Let us go for a proper plan, and that can be done on all India basis.
Okay, is it an all India problem, Nighat Abbas? Is it an all India problem? Because we have seen mayhem in Gurugram, we have seen mayhem in Punjab, in Himachal, in Uttarakhand.
Tamanna, listen, hear me out. Allow me.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
No, it's easy for Mr. Srivastav to just come up and give a statement like that we should not be blaming, because he should not be forgetting that when MCD was governed by Bharatiya Janata Party, all Arvind Kejriwal was doing that, playing a blame game. Even today he does towards the LG. Now, when he has the entire Delhi, when he has the Delhi government and the MCD, despite of that, what we are seeing today is that 4 months before a government school is built, what, rupees 16 crore. And 4 months down the line now, when there's like rainfall for a couple of days, the wall collapses. 6 people have died in Delhi. Whose accountability is that? Who would go to the families and give them the compensation of what? Life? This is not what we needed.
Specific question. Let's get a specific answer. You talked about the wall collapse. Specific questions get specific answers.
Allow me for 10 seconds. Tamanna, allow me for 10 seconds. Allow me for 10 seconds. Allow me for 10 seconds.
Okay, but what is the point you're going to make? I hope it's a clear point.
Big pothole in Janakpuri, what we see, reminds me of Bermuda Triangle. That the people of Delhi are going above that and it's drowning. And one day, if Arvind Kejriwal would be the chief minister, I am sorry to say, and this disheartens me to say this, that the Delhi entirely would collapse in his leadership, which half partially has already.
But he is the chief minister. He is the chief minister. PWD is under him. Janakpuri and Rohini.
Yeah, which is why Delhi is
Janakpuri and Rohini road collapses raise serious questions, as does the wall collapse of that school. Mr. Srivastav, the specific question, yes, there's unprecedented rain. Yes, rescue and relief operations become the priority. But like the rain washes away the filth, it has also exposed, unfortunately, the very poor infrastructure in Delhi. And yes, you can argue that that's not the case of just Delhi. It's in many cities in this country. But today, if I talk about Delhi, you can't deny that there is a problem there.
I am not denying that. I am saying, admittedly, I am saying the government has to do a little more, quality control and all such things, and see to it that why the road has caved in right on a four-way or a particular school wall has, collapsed like that. These are serious things. But what I want to tell you is that such things do happen, and they do happen everywhere. So one has to see that the loss is the minimal and ensure that the future planning is such that these things become more sturdier, more, founded, so that this does not happen again. But my question here is, I'm not trying to talk about politics. My other friend is talking only politics. I'm asking, the BJP has got 7-member parliament in this Delhi state.
Right.
Where are they? I have yet to see them anywhere. The chief minister is on the street. The PWD minister is on the street. Where are those 7 MPs who were elected by these Delhi people?
But what will they? No, one minute. Mr. Srivastav, I understand that you're turning this, this is a political repartee. But even if the 7 MPs come, how will they help? What will they do?
The point is at least you should be seen on the ground, helping people.
We don't need more photo ops right now. Nobody needs more photo ops right now. You need solutions. You need solutions. Mr. Sehgal, let me come to say, Mr. Sehgal, you don't need more photo ops, for God's sake.
There was a better planning.
1 minute. There is poor planning. 1 minute. Ms. Abbas, there is poor planning in all major cities, including several run by BJP governments. Let's wait and see what happens in Bombay.
Alarm you or shocks you.
Let's wait and see what happens in Mumbai when the real rains come. Usually the story is out of here. Unfortunately for Delhi, this time it's out of Delhi. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if there is any city in this country, any major metro that can withstand a proper rain without causing mayhem. And the answer is no. Mr. Sehgal, I want to understand in terms of responsibility in the context of Delhi, because this has happened in Delhi NCR. Whose job is this? If we have to ask questions, who is it to? Is it the government, the elected government, the Delhi government, PWD? Is it MCD's problem? Is the central government involved? How does this system work? Who has to fix this?
I think central government doesn't come in directly at all as far as these problems are concerned. It is the MCD and the government. who are responsible overall. So if responsibility has to be fixed, it will have to be fixed on these two agencies. You cannot just find the MPs are not going there and photo ops and a minister goes and takes photographs and gets them published in the newspaper. What can the minister do on that day? All you can do is you can sympathize with the people, which of course they should be doing. And I have no doubt that the MPs must be out. They can't be just sitting in their homes when the thing like this is happening. That sympathy is not good enough. That sympathy must be followed. For instance, if there is a house collapse somewhere and that is due to apathy, government should compensate that person. That also the local government has to do. I am saying that for the planning, a lot of agencies are responsible. It has to be, you are talking of water bodies. I mean, water bodies can't be created in Delhi, which is an over-congested city already. What I am saying is proper technology for taking the water, harvesting the water, at least 20-30% of the overflow into the ground. You are taking the roof water into the ground. Why don't we change this? Why don't we now pass a new law that when PWD makes a road, it will also provide water harvesting along the road, as we are asking the private people to do. So we should do that. When the school is built, we are insisting on a harvesting body. So we must harvest some of the water. This is especially important in Gurgaon. It's extremely important there because the Yamuna is so far away from there. Why Noida is better is because Noida is directly on the banks of the Yamuna river. So the water can flow directly into the Yamuna. And the level of Noida is higher than the level of Delhi. So we must have, apart from the normal things that we do, I am not saying that weather change is there or not. That has to be on a geological lifestyle. It cannot be year to year that the temperature has had that effect.
Yes.
After all, that temperature has been rising for the last 100 years. Why is it suddenly happened now? Just because we are talking of climate change. I think climate change is maybe there, but we will not determine it now. We can only know a century later that when climate change started. This is on a geological time scale. It is not on a calendar that in January the water is less, February it is more, so climate change has come. No, I'm sorry, climate doesn't change like this so drastically. It has been going up 1 degree or 1.5 degrees over a century. So climate change may be an excuse given by politicians and planners, but I don't think that is an answer. That is not the answer at all.
It might be a combination of things.
Okay. What I am saying is that in the plan, we must provide harvesting of water along the roads.
Okay. Ravi Srivastava wants to respond. Yes, Mr. Srivastava.
Into the Yamuna,
sir, I want to ask my learned co-panelists.
I'd also like to come in if I was given a chance.
No. So first thing is that have we not seen in last 20 years unexpected, unprecedented rains in different parts of the country? Has it not happened in Mumbai in 2005? Has it not happened in 2013 in Kedarnath? Has it not happened in last year, September 28, 29 in Bangalore? It has happened across the country. This is a new phenomena. I don't say it is a climate change, or this time it is an Arabian Sea, that cyclone matched with the monsoon progress, and it became a very heavy rainfall in Gujarat and Himachal and 8 states of the North India. This is something unusual. You had not seen it earlier. This is happening in last 15 or 20 years, that things are happening, the kind of flash floods are happening, the heavy rain in a short span of time. We have
so I think we should not get sidetracked into whether we should call this climate change, weather anomalies or whatever. Professor Gupta wants to come in. Yes.
The point is, this is a lost opportunity. It is definitely an extreme weather event. With due respect to Mr. Sehgal, I don't know what he's talking about, because these are extreme weather events. They are getting more frequent spells of very intense rainfall. The point here is, let's take the long view. Was Delhi prepared? No. Who is to blame? Well, you can blame multiple people, but blame game will give you political scoring points. I'm not a politician, and this is the problem when you get politicians on this show. They're simply interested in blaming each other. I gave you the analogy of the Titanic. They're going to be debating each other while the Titanic crashes into the iceberg. So the simple point I want to make is, we need a climate action plan for cities, for this country, not simply about mitigation, but about adaptation, about resilience to floods. We have some templates, they're not perfect. There is the Mumbai Climate Action Plan. We need to really take the long view. I think, Tamanna, this kind of opportunity of this event grabbing the news headlines is going to be a wasted opportunity if we simply start trading allegations. Politicians have to do it. That's their livelihood. That's not my livelihood. My livelihood as a climate economist,
Professor Gupta, we aim to give a variety of views to our viewers, which is also important. So that is why you are on the show. That's why we have Mr. Sehgal, Mr. Ravi Srivastava and Nighat Abbas on the show. I think everyone
that's okay. I don't have anything to say about any panelists, but
yeah, so we know we have extreme weather events.
That's fine. Just let me say one thing, that if we are... No, what I'm trying to say is that, look, if it's a blame game, look, I mean, obviously the NDMC area where you have Akbar Road and all belongs to a different kind of an administrative structure. That's NDMC. Gurgaon is in Haryana. They have a different municipal body. So why are things much worse there than, say, Noida, which is with the third? So Delhi, see, this whole show has got very focused on Delhi. Delhi has a very fractured urban governance structure with multiple authorities trying to do multiple things. Who's to blame? Well, all of them. Everybody should be held accountable. Definitely the elected leaders must be held accountable. But what next? We hold them accountable. Suppose the minister resigns. What happens then? Are we prepared for the next time around? So I think use this news cycle, use this headline to really say that, yes, now we want them to be accountable in the sense that come up with a plan maybe in a few months.
No, the plan needs to be there on an all-India level.
Otherwise,
the plan needs to be there on an all-India level, because we don't know when the next climatic episode is going to strike. This one, for example, was because of a confluence of monsoon winds from Bay of Bengal with disturbance from Arabian Sea. I was talking earlier in the day with SkyMet. They're saying, listen, we've not even seen El Nino yet, which is supposed to bring drought. There are parts of this country right now in the south and the east which have received deficient rainfall, up to 35 to 45%, while these areas have received excess rainfall. This is going to impact the next crop cycle. Yes, this is a larger conversation, but for today, we're talking...
I agree. We must have a national action plan.
Yes.
We don't really have a very sensible...
We need all of that, but till then, those who are making roads, which collapse like this need to be held accountable. If there is corruption, they need to be pulled up. I have to end it here. So I want to thank all of my panelists for joining us on the lead story this evening.